Hey everybody, I am back today. I can actually speak today because I've actually been quite sick lately, and one of the few reasons why I've actually not been able to provide an update, and do much painting. And so, just in short, I work in healthcare, and I ended up catching an illness here, just cold, whatever, that lots of people seem to have in my area. Seems to be going around, and I kind of had to go on a business trip at the same time, and so I kind of worked while I was sick and went on this business trip, came back, doing stuff with my kids and just trying to get over this. And I haven't really been doing much, and in all my free time I haven't really felt up to painting or modeling, although I've been catching up on a lot of TV. Two of my favorite shows lately, well, for a long time now, Lilyhammer on Netflix has been my favorite show, and so season 3 is out, and I've been watching a lot of that, catching up on that. And then also I've been watching the first season of Vikings, because I didn't really watch that when it was on air. I only caught a couple of episodes, but I actually enjoyed it. It's pretty brutal, but I still kind of like the show quite a bit, so I've been watching that. But wanted to talk about a couple things today. I did pick up the Chaos Space Marines and Chaos Daemons codexes. That was a bit of a hit to the wallet, considering I really only have like 2 Chaos miniatures. I had mentioned to you guys that I would be giving this guy friends over the next year, and I have had my minds on heresy. in the sense of the miniatures. I'm doing a lot of Loyalist. I kind of realized, and without actually planning it, I kind of am adopting both a Xenos, a Loyalist, and a Chaos army. And so I've started the 40k with Eldar, and that's my main army and the one that I have the most of, and that I play big battles with. But now I'm doing a bit of Loyalist, but then quickly decided I also want to do a little Chaos, and so I've been thinking a lot about lists and how to use the models and all kinds of things, but I don't really have the resources, so I picked up these 2 guys and have been reading them. Basically, one of the 2 things I wanted to talk about today is just an update and a chat. Is I'm going to be doing some episodes in the future that I think I'm going to call them like Inquisitorial Thoughts. They're just wargaming chats, basically, that are not showing models, they're not giving updates on projects, they're not talking about projects. They're probably more tangentially related to the projects that I'm doing. It could be anything from painting style, like just talking about various ways to paint, my thoughts and kind of how I'm changing what I'm doing, things that I've been thinking about after doing projects, as I'm learning, milestones in some ways. It could be anything. It could be fluff or history for historical gaming, because I'm getting more into historical gaming over the last year, or fluff for 40k, just thoughts on that. I just find that I like to put out those videos every once in a while, because I learn from other people that are kind of thinking about this stuff, or they may have answers, or share their perspectives. But then they're really, I'm not in this to get lots of subscribers and tons of views, but I have noticed that there's not as much interest in those. Like whenever I put a miniature in front of the camera, I show a display of something I finished, I get a lot more views than when I'm just talking about stuff. That's okay though, because in the end, I'm in this just as much for the discussions, for a select few people that like to participate, and so I don't really care. And so I'm going to section those videos off, and if you really don't like that stuff, you just kind of like looking at the models, then you can skip those, like just I'll have it right up there, Inquisitorial Thoughts episode 1, whatever it is. And so this video is kind of like that, in the sense that I wanted to talk today about something I've been thinking about, because I went on a business trip. I used to go on a lot more business trips for my old job than I do now. I used to travel a lot more, and I would have more downtime, and it had occurred to me sometimes that I'd like to bring my hobby with me, and I'd like to, to be able to paint some stuff in a hotel or wherever. And I guess there were a couple things that come to mind, in that a lot of those business trips in the past, and the one that I just went on, I had to fly. And the first thing I think of is, well, I don't quite know the rules for the liquids and the security features, like here in North America, but I'm sure it's the case in other areas too, like Europe and stuff. There are, significant restrictions on what you can take when you travel in your bags. And so right off the bat there, it's just sort of a roadblock for me, just saying, like, I don't even want to look into it. I don't even want to deal with the problem. I would definitely don't want my stuff confiscated, because it's one thing to throw some shampoo in the garbage, but it's another to take some, a big bottle of primer or whatever it is, or, even my miniatures or what. I doubt that would happen, but I just don't want to deal with it, and so I don't. I don't bring it with me. I don't really do the stuff in the hotel. I've noticed that some of the folks I subscribe to, like I know Nick from Idic Beer, I saw that he had a couple episodes where he was on a business trip and he was just doing some videos, from his hotel room. But I wanted to ask you guys first, for those of you that travel, whether it be for business or it could just be like with your family, like on a holiday, or maybe that's not the best example because maybe you wouldn't be painting like on the beach in Mexico, but I guess, just maybe you're just visiting relatives or you're doing something. And do you ever bring your stuff with you and get work done, like where you're going there? For those of you that are on business trips, have you had to deal with the airport stuff, or like have you found a way around that or looked into it at all? I'm kind of curious if there's just an easy way to deal with that. Maybe it's just check it in your luggage and not bring it in your backpack or something. I don't know, but do you just do that and get around it no problem? And then for transporting your stuff, so there's lots of videos on transporting armies. Like we want to protect our models. We don't want to get them damaged. And in this case, you are likely transporting a limited number of models too that you're just working on, but it's not your whole army. But it's transporting all of your stuff. So how do you go about doing it? I think there are likely fairly cheaper ways of doing it. I was thinking like, maybe there are some tackle boxes, like fishing tackle boxes that would be really good for carrying pots of paint. And, some of those lures are just as long easily as brushes and things. And so I wasn't sure if that was a good way to go. I used to, when I play HeroClix, use fishing tackle boxes for my HeroClix stuff as an army transporter. I noticed that GW has put out recently a project box. I'll just throw up a picture of it here for those of you that might not have seen it. So I was kind of intrigued by this because, it's like $75 for a big piece of thin plastic with compartments, and many people will say right off the bat, I'm sure, that they don't think it's worth it or it's just way overpriced. I critically look at a lot of the stuff that GW does, and I do agree that, like, I have no interest in like a $50 mold line, scraper, or, I don't know what the exact price is, but some of the stuff just seems really outrageous and probably high quality, but way out of what my means, for spending, just off the cuff. And so, but I looked at this project box, and I just kind of did a Google search on painting, I guess you could say transport cases for paints and for hobby and crafting. I kind of just took a different spin to see, surely the hobby and crafting world is much bigger than wargaming, and they must have these kinds of things. And when I looked into it, a lot of the offerings they had were not that much different in price, and were not quite as good as the GW box. I mean, the GW box had, really nice slots for brushes, and it had the tray that synced in it and the paint pot thing that went in there. None of those had anything like that, and they were maybe $10 cheaper, and so I thought, that's kind of neat. Like if I did ever, decide to take some trips where I knew I was going to be bringing my stuff with me, that might not be a bad idea. And sometimes I do look for a little station just to change when I'm in my house, when I just change levels to work on stuff, to be closer to the family, when I'm doing stuff, rather than down in the basement in my room. And, that could be a side effect offering, or I could just kind of bring my stuff, keep it together up there. It'd be nice. So has anybody picked it up? What do you guys think of it? I am just interested in your thoughts on it. So, so that's really all I've got for today. I'll be back pretty shortly with another video on something that's been on my mind for the hobby, more on the painting side. Something that I've kind of realized recently with my painting and styles and things like that. And then I will be back fairly shortly with an update on my Prussians for In Her Majesty's Name. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you later.